Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to talk about the major differences between retiring at 60 as a federal employee or 62. And while it may seem like, oh, that's only 2 years, what's the big difference? Well, there's actually some major differences between retiring at these two different dates. So we're going to dive into this. And if you are new to the channel, so good to have you. My name is Dallin Haas. I'm a financial planner who serves federal employees every day, and I absolutely love it. So first and foremost, the first difference right off the top when it comes to retiring at 60 or 62 is how many years of federal service you need to get a full unreduced pension, okay? If you retire at 60, you need at least 20 years of service to get a full unreduced pension immediately, okay? If you retire 62 plus, all you need is 5 years of service to retire with, a full unreduced pension immediately. So just the amount of years of service you need to qualify for full-blown retirement drops significantly at 62. And that's not the biggest difference, right? One of the next biggest differences is how your pension is calculated if you retire at 60 versus 62. So, for example, 62, if you retire at 62 and you have 20 plus years, okay? So like I said, at 62, you only need 5 years to retire, but if you do have 20 plus years and you retire at 62 plus, then your pension gets a 10% bump to it than you otherwise would have had. So long story short, if you work until age 61 in 11 months, and then you decide to work that extra month till 62, and now you're at least age 62 with at least 20 years, again, your pension right then gets a 10% bump off the top, and that bump is forever, meaning for the rest of your life, your pension is 10% bigger, which is a great, great benefit. So again, to qualify for this, you got to retire at 62 or older with at least 20 years, and your pension is 10% bigger. If you're familiar with the pension calculation, long story short, your multiplier is 1.1% instead of 1%. But the bottom line is your pension gets a 10% bump if you retire 62 plus with 20 years. So that could be another big difference. Next, your TSP can be impacted greatly by when you retire. So by working longer, right? Whether it's 60 to 62 or 62 to 64 or whatever, the longer you work, simply put, the more money you're going to have, right? Because you have more time to save into the TSP, and that money has more time to grow, right? Tax deferred, tax free, depending on what investments or what you're in, whether traditional TSP or Roth TSP. So if, especially near the end of your career, if you're maxing out the TSP or putting a bunch in, having a couple extra years of growth, of putting money in, can make a significant difference in how much you actually have in the TSP. Now, last but not least, if you retire at 60 with 20 years, you are eligible for the FERS supplement. Now, if you're not familiar with that, I've got whole videos on the FERS supplement, but long story short, it's an additional payment on top of your pension, but you only get it until you're 62. So if you retire at 60 with 20 plus years, you're going to get the FERS supplement for 2 years. At 62, it's going to go away. At 62, though, you're going to be eligible for Social Security. You can turn on Social Security anywhere between 62 and 70, okay? So that's another difference between these two things. At 60, you're eligible for the FERS supplement, but it does go away at 62. If you work till 62, well, you never get the FERS supplement because it stops at 62 regardless, right? But you are eligible for Social Security immediately if you retire at 62 plus. So these are some of the key differences. And let's be frank here. Like I said, 62 has a lot of benefits. You don't need as many years of service. You can get 10% bigger on your pension. Your TSP has more time to grow. You're eligible for Social Security immediately, right? So why doesn't everyone work till 62? Well, long story short, there comes a point for everyone where enough is enough, right? Where you look at your situation and you're like, yeah, I could work longer. I always can work longer, but is it worth it? Right? People come to me all the time and say, hey, how do I maximize my benefits? Right? How do I maximize my pension? Well, I'm like, well, if you work until you're 90 Your pension's going to be massive, but when you retire, you're not going to have many years to enjoy it. So it's a balancing act. Certainly the longer you work, yes, your benefits and things are going to be bigger in retirement, but your retirement's going to be shorter the longer you work. So it's a balancing act of making sure you're comfortable while not giving up your good, healthy years in your retirement. So I hope that's helpful. Hopefully that gives you some context. Those are some of the key differences between retiring at 60 versus 62. And if you want more helpful resources, I give away tons of free helpful things in the description below. So check those out. We're here for you. We love helping federal employees just like you. But again, I hope this is helpful. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you next time.